Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Robert M. Blazak. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, Only God Can Make a Buzzard. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. Pretty much any online book reseller. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and get lost in all of it. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out that Robert was brought to our network, People of Distinction, by one of the best advertising firms in the business. And people, if you follow us, well, you already know I'm talking about CITI of Books. So listen, for my writers out there who have gone through their process, you've created your masterpiece, and now you need help moving the book you just finished developing. Well, if that's you, head on over to cityofbooks.com today and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help maximize your creative endeavors. And listen, it is a true pleasure to have Robert here on the line. Now, the moment you start to do research on his book, Only God Can Make a Buzzard, you're going to understand the conversation we're getting ready to have. Now, people, I'm telling you, this book is nuanced. This book is layered, and it has so much to offer. I mean, if you're looking for a feel-good story that's going to help you pass the time on a rainy day, this book's got what you're looking for. If you're looking for a feel-good story that's going to help you pass the time on a rainy day, but also is grounded with substance, grounded with fantastic messages that you can take to the bank, well, guess what? This book has got what you're looking for. I'm telling you, there is so much happening here. It's a fun-filled journey filled with true short stories that offer nostalgia, that offer life during a simpler time. You're going to get lost in this wonderful journey as you travel down memory lane alongside Robert, but you're going to be able to take valuable lessons to the bank because at the end of each chapter, there's scripture, there's religion that is infused to really help connect the reader to religion, to inform the reader that no matter what you do, no matter where you go, God is always right there with you, walking step by step. I'm telling you, this is something you need to add to your shelf. It is remarkable how well Robert has infused his life in these funny short stories, but also has it grounded in that religion, that aspect of God being that omnipresent force that is always there looking out for you and taking care of you. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, Robert's the expert, okay? I could sit here, I could talk for hours, but no one is going to be able to articulate the message better than this man, so let's bring him here with us. Sit back and strap in. Robert, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, and it's nice to talk with you. I love what you said about the book, and I'm anxious to go into it further.
Absolutely. Well, Robert, listen, man, you started it, okay? Because you wrote this amazing book and set up the roadmap that I was easily able to follow. So I know you credited me for what I said at the beginning here, but I was just following your lead. Man, I think what you did here is simple, but profound at the same time. So I'm here for it. I'm loving it. I'm picking up what you're putting down here, Robert. Before we jump into the book, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who is Robert M. Blazak?
Well, I'm a mixture of a lot of different things. I've had a crazy life. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and when I was 7, we moved to the farm. My dad bought an abandoned farm. He wanted to get us out of the city. It was right after the war. And he fixed that farm up. He was amazing. He could do anything. I call my mom and dad earth angels. They were just fantastic. And growing up as a child with the foundation that they gave me was really wonderful.
Yeah.
I eventually went to college. I got a degree in metallurgical engineering and went into the steel industry for many years. And when it closed down, I decided to go into the car business. I was worked and sold cars and worked my way up to management, and was very unhappy with it. So I wrote my first book, Carbuying 101s, about 15 years ago. And the funny thing is that all of the stuff that was in that book is still existing now. They still do the same things to customers. And, I got in a lot of trouble with that book because the people were walking into the dealerships with that book and saving thousands of dollars, and it didn't go over very well. But the book did, and I had a real good experience with that. After that, I was retired and I drove a school bus. It was the greatest job I ever had in my life. I had 10 years with the same children, the same bus routes, and I turned my bus into a school and taught the kids all the capitals and the states and the presidents every day, and they just enjoyed getting on the bus. So I have now about 117 grandchildren out of that.
Robert, I love it, man. You know, what you've been able to do. And this is the fantastic part. Robert is an educator. Whether it's in the classroom or out of the classroom, he's never missing the opportunity to educate. Whether it's through his first book, Carbuying 101, through his time as a bus driver, or with this newest book, Only God Can Make a Buzzard. There is education through and through, and something to be found on each passing page. You know, Robert, my next question, I wasn't initially planning on going here, but I want to talk about inspiration here, because outside of the time where you wrote the book, Carbuying 101, as I listened to you talk about your background, writing didn't seem that it was a part of that. So where does this love for creative writing come from, Robert?
Oh, that's an easy answer. It came from my mom. She was always pushing me, and I was writing articles for newspapers, and she was really encouraging me. She was a 4'11" school teacher, and I mean, she was a firecracker, and she was always there. And when you read the book, you'll find that my mom and dad were always there in every experience I had, good and bad. I have an older brother, 3 years older, and a sister 3 years younger, and the three of us on that farm had some great, crazy experiences, good and bad. There's sad stories in there, and there's history. The book is designed for people from 10 to 100 years old. I went to a nursing home and took my book in and read some stories. And there's a story in there about an outhouse. And one of the gentlemen in there just absolutely lit up when I started to read it. And he said, I had an outhouse like that. and he took over the conversation, and it was wonderful. And I also went into the schools, and I went to fifth grade classes, and I read stories from the book. And I had the children after we read I had the children read the books, not me, and I had them write stories themselves, and we put the stories together and made up a little book for the whole school. So there's all kinds of stuff in there. There's that are good and bad. I had a story in there as an example about a great friend of mine who was a lifeguard at the lake that was right near our home. Mm-hmm. And I used to spend my time. It had a dam there, and big signs telling you not to walk out on the dam. It was 35 feet high, and with the overflow, and I decided I wanted to jump off that dam, and I got out there and froze, and this friend of mine came out on a dam and said, "Hey, I'll go with you." And the two of us jumped, and he got suspended for 2 weeks, and I just got chewed out.
Yeah.
So there's just all kinds of stuff in there. I can't go through all the chapters because they're all different.
You know, Robert, I love what you said. Just by sharing that one little story, it already has me going down memory lane, right? Has me shuffling through the Rolodex of memories that I have. And, you know, I often find, and I tell my wife this all the time, how blessed I think I am. And we were, my wife and myself, that we were brought up in a time before technology. Technology was around, but it definitely was not advanced to the point where it is today. So when we were growing up, I was outside, man. I mean, I was playing with my friends all the time. And, you know, I have a similar memory to that, right? Where I call it the innocence of youth, right? Or just the lack of awareness of youth, right? Where we're jumping off of certain things. And, you know, we had a little lake next to our home, and we would go down there all the time on summer and spring days and jumping off of the dock into the water. And, you know, as an adult now, I may think twice before doing that. But as a child, man, it was like, nope, we're absolutely doing this. And it was so much fun. But hearing you tell just that one story, already there's a bridge being formulated, and I'm able to resonate with that. And people, I'm telling you, this is why you got to head on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble, because his book is filled with stories just like that are going to resonate with you. Whether you are 10 or whether you are 100, this book is for you. It's called Only God Can Make a Buzzard by Robert M. Blazak. Head on over there today and pick up your copies. You know, Robert, my next question here, why did you feel compelled to write this book? I mean, listen, I get it. This very easily could have stayed something that was on your personal shelf or stories that you told those around you. But you took it a step further, Robert. You published the book for the masses to also be able to partake in it. What inspired you to do that?
Well, the book was originally, I wanted to write it so that I had a history to pass on to my kids. Mm-hmm. I have two sons. One of them just turned 60, and he's having a tough time with that. The other one's 57. And I wanted to have a book that, if it didn't sell, that wasn't so important. But I have the history to pass on to the next generation. Yeah. And I also had an opportunity to teach people what it was like back in the late 40s and early 50s when this book took place. Mm-hmm. As far as I want to tell you about the cover, because it's important. People don't understand what a buzzard is in most cases. If we didn't have buzzards, we would have a big problem, because they cleaned up all the dead animals all over the world. Yeah. And they had a constitution that allowed them to eat anything, but they only eat dead things. But the main reason I took it is this little town of Hinckley. I wanted to tell you about that. They're a little township and a wonderful, wonderful place to grow up in. Mm-hmm. And they have a National Buzzard Day there. There's a tree near the city, the downtown area, a big dead tree. And every year on the 15th of March, there are 6 buzzards that come in and land in that tree on the same day at the same time every year. So they decided to make it a national a holiday, and they have National Buzzard Day, and they have a festival, and they have a live buzzard there you can see, and the local band plays, and they have people make their special recipes and give them out, and it's just a fun festival day, and that's why and there are probably 4 or 5 stories in there about buzzards, experiences that I had with them. My dad and brother and I are all Eagle Scouts and Scoutmasters, and we turned the farm, as I mentioned earlier, into a scout ranch. And that's one of the reasons that this town is so special. And all my kids are in there. All my schoolmates are in there. I got permission to use their names because I had crazy experiences with all of them. As I say, there's stories about buzzards. There's stories about scouting. There's a little bit of everything there for the reader to enjoy.
There you have it. Robert, let's dive down the rabbit hole here a little bit. I know that this book is filled with short stories from your life. So all of these are true stories, right? These things have actually happened. But Robert, if you could enter the world of your book and you could choose any page in it to land on, which page would you choose to land on and relive, and why?
Well, that's a tough one because every page is special, and I could land on all of them. I really could.
Yeah.
There's, as I say, there's a little bit of everything in the book. There's a story of my first kiss.
Wow.
At a birthday party, playing spin the bottle. And there's a story of, oh my gosh, I could go through, there's so many. I really couldn't pick one out. I think that every page in that book has got something fun or serious in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, you know what? I was trying to set you up there, but you passed with flying colors, Robert, because like you, I get it, right? From an artistic standpoint, when I'm creating my art and all of the art that I've created over the past number of decades, it's hard to choose one that would be the favorite or one that I would like to do again. They're all so special. And I get that, man. They all have a very particular place in your heart and a fondness that it showcases. So, thank you very much for entertaining. I appreciate that. Robert, listen, as we close out here, man, I love your book and what it represents, but I want to hear it from you. What are you hoping to see your readers take from your book?
Well, of course, I mentioned at the beginning the main things, features of the book are that God is always there for them. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have tremors, so I can't sign my name, and I made a stamp up, and it really encapsulates in 3 words what it's all about, and that's that God loves you. Mm. You're never going to be alone. If you're in a situation where you have no friends or you're by yourself or something, you've got to understand that you're never alone because God is always right there with you.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing about it.
People, what a way to close out of an interview. Those 3 words are so powerful. God loves you. Right? There it is. What a wonderful bow to add on such a magnificent interview. Listen, I know you are all like me. You are sold. You recognize the power that this book carries. Well, I'm going to say it for you once again, just to solidify it. It's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. It's Walmart. It's wherever books are sold online. Head on over there today and pick up your copies of Only God Can Make a Buzzard by Robert M. Blazak. This is the story for you. This is a story to add to your shelf. This is a gift to add to someone else's. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and people get lost in all of it. Robert, this has been a true pleasure, man, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you. The interview and the way you presented all this was so professional, and I really, really am in awe of your expertise.